There was a time I truly believed love was for other people, for the confident ones, the successful ones, the ones who weren't quietly falling apart inside. And me, I just tried not to take up too much space, tried not to be seen, because the more invisible I was, the safer I felt. I would watch people holding hands, laughing, telling each other get home safe or text me when you wake up. And there I was, pretending it didn't sting, pretending I didn't want to feel that close to someone, because deep down I believed I wasn't good enough to be chosen, not strong enough, not attractive enough, not lovable enough. I know how that sounds, but if you've ever been there, really been there, you understand. It's not about being physically alone. It's the feeling that you're too broken to be loved, that if someone really looked at you, really saw you, they'd walk away. I've been there, more times than I can count. And if you've ever been there too, this video is for you. Because the truth is, no one is born unlovable. Sometimes we're just raised in a world that made us forget we are. In today's video, I want to talk about why so many men, like myself, end up believing they are not worthy of love, and more importantly, what we can do to change that story, starting from the inside out. I used to think something was wrong with me, not in a dramatic way, just this quiet, persistent sense that I was missing something essential, like there was a secret ingredient to being lovable, and I didn't have it. Growing up, I learned early that emotions were dangerous. Crying meant weakness. Needing connection meant being needy, so I bottled things up, pushed everything down, and without realizing it, I started building a belief. If I want to be accepted, I need to be invulnerable. But here's the paradox. When you hide all your feelings, people can't see the real you. And if they can't see you, they can't truly love you. So when I did get close to someone and it didn't work out, I didn't just feel heartbreak. I felt confirmed. See, I knew it. I'm not lovable. It's taken me a long time to understand that this belief didn't come from thin air. It was shaped layer, by things I never even questioned, what I was taught as a boy, what society expected of me as a man, what I internalized every time I felt like I had to earn someone's care. And it's not just me. So many men I know carry this same quiet ache. They might never say it out loud, but it's there in how they pull away, in how they minimize their needs, in how they believe they have to achieve love instead of simply receive it. When you grow up learning that your worth depends on how strong, successful, or stoic you are, love starts to feel like a reward you'll never quite win, because no matter how much you do, it never feels like enough. And if you're not careful, you'll start to believe that you are not enough. But that's not the truth. It's just a story we've been told. And every story can be rewritten once we understand where it came from. Part 3: Deep Psychological Breakdown. Suggested title: The 5 Psychological Roots of Feeling Unlovable. It took me years to realize that the feeling of being unlovable wasn't who I was, it was where I came from. The beliefs I held about myself weren't facts, they were stories. Stories built from pain, silence, and misunderstanding. And once I started unpacking them, I saw 5 core patterns that had shaped the way I saw myself, and maybe they'll sound familiar to you too. 1. Emotional suppression starts early. As a kid, I was told to man up anytime I cried, fell off my bike, stop crying like a girl, got rejected by a friend, toughen up, you'll be fine. So I learned feelings were liabilities. The more I showed, the more I got shamed, so I stopped showing. And when you hide your emotions long enough, something worse happens. You stop trusting them. You even stop believing you're allowed to have them. According to developmental psychology, boys who grow up without emotional validation often develop alexithymia, the inability to name or express emotions. So when someone later tries to love them, it feels confusing, even dangerous, because they've been taught that emotions are weakness and love is exposure. 2. Society sets impossible standards for men. I can't tell you how many times I've felt like I wasn't man enough, not rich enough, not fit enough, not assertive enough. The world tells us, be successful, be stoic, be in control, and if you fall short of that checklist, you start to believe you don't deserve love, because society doesn't just tell men to succeed, it tells them they must succeed in order to matter. What we don't talk about enough is how that pressure destroys self-worth from the inside. When love becomes something you must earn with status or performance, it stops feeling like love. It starts to feel like a competition you're always losing. But connection doesn't come from perfection. It comes from vulnerability, from showing up as you are, not as the ideal man you think others want. 3. Repeated rejection rewires your brain. I still remember the first time I told someone how I felt and they didn't feel the same way. That kind of silence, it echoes. One rejection didn't destroy me, but after enough heartbreaks, ghosting, or being almost enough for someone, it began to shape how I saw myself. Clinical studies on rejection show that our brain processes social rejection similarly to physical pain. It's not just in your head, it hurts for real. And if that pain goes unhealed, you start to expect it. You withdraw. You assume love is something that passes you by. But what I've learned is, rejection doesn't mean you're unlovable. It just means that wasn't your person. And expecting yourself to be lovable to everyone is like expecting one song to be everyone's favorite. It doesn't work that way. For mental health and the inner critic, there was a time when I thought I was a burden. I'd tell myself, you're too much. People would be happier without you. That's depression talking. That's anxiety whispering behind every quiet moment. Mental health struggles don't just steal your joy, they distort your reflection. They make it hard to see your value clearly. Psychologists call this negative self-referential thinking, a loop of self-criticism that reinforces low self-esteem. When you believe you're broken, you start to act like it. You push people away. You self-sabotage. You pretend you're fine when you're falling apart. But here's the truth. Struggling mentally doesn't make you unlovable. It makes you human, and the most human thing we can do is reach out and say, I need help. 5. The stigma of asking for help. For the longest time, I refused therapy, not because I didn't want help, but because I was scared of what it said about me. I thought, if I need support, it means I've failed. But what I didn't realize was, pretending I was okay was the thing keeping me stuck. We live in a culture where emotional vulnerability in men is seen as weakness. But suppressing pain doesn't make it go away, it buries it deeper. And the more you bury, the more disconnected you become from others, from love, from yourself. Healing starts the moment we choose honesty over performance. It starts when we say, I'm not okay and that's okay. Because when we start showing up as we are, something shifts. We stop chasing love and start letting it in. I used to think healing had to be this huge, life-changing event, like some grand epiphany or a 10-day retreat in the mountains. But for me, healing didn't come in one big moment. It came quietly through small, repeated acts of self-respect. Things that felt awkward at first, but slowly they began to rebuild what I thought was permanently broken inside me. When I started identifying the voice in my head every time something went wrong. I'd hear this voice, of course they left, you're not good enough. Why would anyone love someone like you? But here's what I learned, that voice isn't me. It's a recording from the past, from old wounds, not current truths. So I began writing them down, those automatic thoughts. And then right underneath, I wrote a more compassionate response. Not toxic positivity, just truth. Like, they left, but that doesn't mean I'm unlovable. It means we weren't a match. I did this every day. At first, it felt fake. But over time, those kinder voices got louder. 2. I redefined what makes someone worthy of love for years. I thought love had to be earned. With success, with muscles, with charm. But then I asked myself, the people I love, do they have to be perfect? The answer was obvious. I loved my friends for their kindness, not their job titles. I cared about people because of how they made me feel, not how many followers they had. So why was I holding myself to a harsher standard? Worthiness isn't a checklist. It's a truth you claim when you decide to stop proving and start accepting. 3. I started opening up to people I trusted. This was the hardest part. I used to think being vulnerable would push people away, but actually it did the opposite. One night, I texted a friend, hey, I've been feeling really disconnected lately. I don't need you to fix anything. I just wanted someone to know. They didn't run. They responded. Thanks for telling me you're not alone. That moment cracked something open in me, because connection doesn't require perfection. It just needs honesty, one message, one conversation, one real moment at a time. For I took small, imperfect steps toward connection. I didn't suddenly become a social butterfly, but I started showing up just a little more. I joined a small group around a shared hobby. I volunteered once a week. I messaged people instead of waiting for them to reach out. None of it was dramatic, but each action reminded me, I'm not invisible, I'm part of something. And the more I practiced showing up, the more I realized people were waiting for me to do just that. 5. I practiced self-compassion like it was a survival skill. There were days I still felt unworthy, still believed the lies in my head. But I stopped fighting them with force and started meeting them with kindness. I wrote myself notes like, you're doing better than you think, You're allowed to rest. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. Some days those notes were all I had, but they kept me going. They gave me something I had never truly offered myself before, grace. Because healing isn't a race, it's a relationship with yourself. And like any relationship, it deepens with small acts of care, repeated consistently. If you've ever felt like love wasn't meant for you, I want you to know this. You don't have to become someone else to be loved. You just have to start coming home to yourself. If there's one thing I wish someone had told me sooner, it's this. You are not unlovable. You are not broken. You're just carrying a story, one that no one ever taught you how to rewrite. A story written in silence, in small rejections that felt like proof, in years of being told to man up instead of speak up. But stories can change, and you don't have to change who you are to deserve love. You just have to stop hiding the parts of you that need it most. The truth is, love doesn't happen the moment someone else says, I choose you. Love begins when you start saying, I choose myself, even here, even now. That doesn't mean it's easy. Some days your brain will whisper, you'll always be alone. Some days your heart will ache without a clear reason. But those moments don't define you. They're not the end of your story. They're the middle, and there's still so much more waiting for you. So if this video spoke to you, even a little, if you've ever sat in a quiet room wondering why love feels so far away, I want you to know you are not alone. In fact, we're working on something to help. Very soon, we'll be releasing a loneliness quiz to help you understand where you are in your connection journey and what small steps you can take next. If you'd like to be one of the first to take it, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to walk this healing path with you. And if no one's told you this in a while, you matter. You are seen, and yes, you are worth loving. If this message meant something to you, please like this video, subscribe to High Day Psych, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next conversation. Until then, be kind to yourself.